What's poppin', guys? You got your coach of the Chim Chargers for our Week 9 GBA match versus Coach Z of the Columbus Chew. He's bringing a team of Pharaoh, Mienshao, Excadrill, Hippowdon, Sneasel, and Mega Gardevoir. We are, of course, bringing our squad from yesterday's building video, so be sure to check that out for all the details of the sets that I'm bringing. Link in the description below. Looking at his team, he's bringing a lot of pretty much what I expected, I guess. Maybe except for Pharaoh, I didn't really expect that to come, but it did. And that is one of his 2 designated Z-move users, his other one being Manaphy, which he did not bring. So Pharaoh, we definitely got to watch out for. I mean, it's going to be a physical attacker primarily, so we have answers for that, like Gligar, just a nice dedicated physical wall for Pokemon such as those. And I mean, other than that, like, we have to just play around Hippowdon and Drill, the nice Sand Core with now he's free to bring Sand Rush over Mold Breaker. Last time we faced him, which was I think week 3 or 4 or something, he brought Mold Breaker since he did not have Hippo. Now he does, so we just gotta be careful of that thing getting out of hand. Mega Gardevoir, of course, a threat as always that we have to watch out for, and Sneasel just having the ability to Icicle Crash or Knock Off. Just really nice typing together with Dark and Ice. And Mienshao could have Reckless, could have Regenerator, not sure what kind of set it would be. Likely, I'm thinking it would be Scarf Mienshao, just so that he can outrun things and just spam high jump kick and things like that. So my game plan going into this match was to try to see if we can make Empoleon put in some work. I think is really what I want to get at, since Empoleon is of course the best defogger that I know of, at least. I'm sure you guys might feel the same, hopefully. But yeah, other than that, I mean, I think it's pretty straightforward. I think his potential lead is going to be either Mienshao or Sneasel or even Gardevoir. Maybe Hippo, I guess. I guess like Pharaoh does get U-turn, so that could be a potential lead. So he does have a lot of potential leads. I figured that my best lead in this scenario would be my Empoleon, because I do have Protect on it. I'm packing Protect with Defog and then Surf Flash Cannon. Looking at his team, he has 0 water resists, right? So I figured that leading Empoleon would be fine. And he also has 0 fire resist. That's another cool thing to notice. So something like Empoleon can put in work, but also Magmortar can put in work too. If we can bring that in safely, getting off a Z overheat onto anything on his team will do massive damage. So I think that we have a pretty strong matchup going into this game. So I think let's just go ahead and start it and see what happens here. Let's just get right into it and let us begin. Lord Emvee versus Coach Z here. Not gonna tell what his first mistake is going to be. I'm going to see if you guys can find that out. If he does make a mistake, that is. Not saying that there will be, though. He leads off with Pharaoh, as I lead off here with the Empoleon. So I'm like, okay, Pharaoh, I'm not sure. It could be a Z-move user. I checked and I saw Drill Run. I'm like, okay, if this thing is Z Drill Run, I'm getting out of here, because I am, even though I'm Shucka, I don't want to pop it just to a Pharaoh. So he actually goes for the U-turn. So I'm like, interesting. So he packs the U-turn, likely maybe Scarfed, because I don't think that was banded damage on the Gligar. So he does bring in Sneasel. I'm like, okay, I'm switching out of here, but he actually doubles, predicting my switch into his Mienshao, and he pulls a lot of really successful doubles in this match, which is pretty fun to see, Coach Z do. So we'll see what happens here. So I go into my Coco and I'm like, okay, I don't want to stand on this Mienshao. He could potentially have Poison Jab, and if he's Scarf, I don't want him to get off damage on my Coco. So I'm gonna go back into my Gligar, because unless he has HP Ice, like, he can't do anything to it. He just goes for the U-turn back into his Sneasel. So he's making some nice, getting some nice momentum, bringing in Sneasel at the right times. I'm going to switch out here into my Silvally, because Silvally, it is going to be a Steel type, and it's going to resist Icicle Crash and not take much from knockoff, because I can't get my memory knocked off on Silvally, so that's nice there. Doesn't do too much damage, and he's actually going to switch out here into his Mienshao. And I'm just going to go for a Surf. I expected Hippowdon to come in, so if he saw Silvally Steel, he'd think that, going into Hippowdon would be nice. But he actually brings in Mienshao, so that was a good play on his part, I guess, in terms of not bringing in a bad switch in. So I'm going to go into my Gligar as he goes for the U-turn. So he's expecting my switches pretty well, I guess, and going for U-turn, but he goes back into his Sneasel, so we'll see what happens here. And expecting, for him to actually click an attack with Sneasel this time, I'm going to switch back into Silvally. I think here is what I do, but he actually ends up going into his Mienshao. Once again, making another double. So he's making some nice doubles. He's basically dancing around, but not actually doing much, in the sense that now he actually finally goes for an attack, and it does land on my Gligar, so it doesn't take much damage at all. Predicting him to want to switch out now. And so now, like, I was trapped in his vortex. Now he's trapped in my vortex, so I'm actually going to go for the U-turn as he hard switches into his Sneasel, so he's going to be taking some good damage here. I don't think Sneasel was the right switch in because getting that thing damaged, especially when he's Life Orb, which you'll soon see, is, or I guess you've already seen, it's not really that wise, I guess, to weaken something that's really good versus a lot of my team. But he's going to switch out here into his Hippowdon to, of course, because it's a ground type, nice bulky ground. I'm going to predict that, go for the U-turn. I mean, it was U-turn was my best play either way. And he's still trapped in my vortex. Now I can bring in my Empoleon safely. Got best defogger out here once again, trying to claim some lives like I did last week. And here what I do is I just go for the Surf because no, I go for the Flash Cannon. Sorry, I go for the Flash Cannon, predicting the Gardevoir here. Right, this is where I go for the Flash Cannon. I predict Gardevoir to come in, so I go for that, especially since I know how bulky Gardevoir can be if he runs a very bulky set. What I'm gonna do here is actually I'm going to try to play some mind games with him, okay? He's going to go for the Mega Evolution, and he's actually going to fire off. I go for the Protect, because I do pack Protect here to scout things out. Like, for instance, High Jump Kick or any kind of move. He goes for the T-Bolt here, and then I'm going to stay in, expecting him to go for Hyper Voice, predicting maybe Gligar or something to come out, and I'm going to stay in and go for Surf. So I make a really clean play here, going for Protect, just to get that mind game off so that I've seen T-Bolt, and then go for a Surf, knowing that he won't click T-Bolt the following turn, expecting me to switch out. So that was really clean. That turn was really nice. I was pretty happy about that. So I'm going to go for the Protect here on this Mienshao as he brings it in, and then he goes for a High Jump Kick and basically crashes. That thing gets some damage off of it. So we're just going to switch out here now that I know he's locked into High Jump Kick, because in my mind I'm thinking that this Mienshao is scarfed, so I'm like, okay, there's no reason for me to just stay in now and try to predict or over predict or anything, expecting him not to be scarfed. So I'm going to go to Gligar. And this does give me a free roost pretty much, because he's forced to switch out of Mienshao into Hippowdon, because Hippowdon is a pretty nice bulky wall to a lot of things on my team. So I'm just gonna roost up here, get to a good amount of health. Gligar is really useful because it can actually put in a lot of work versus physical attackers like Mienshao that he has on his team. So Hippowdon's pretty healthy. I'm just gonna go here for the U-turn, giving me a pretty nice switch. I believe here I go back into my Empoleon, which I do here. I'm basically just trying to pressure him because there's no water type switches like I mentioned. So every time I bring in Empoleon is just a turn that I can click a water attack. I mean, he gets up rocks, so I feel it's best to defog to show off my Empoleon going for defog, as well as just clearing the field so that Pinsir can come in safely or anything like that. He actually stays in and goes for the Earthquake. I do pack the Shuckle Berry, so I think that was really well used. And we're able to live that. So now I'm like, okay, so I think I should get some damage off on this thing, see how much it does, check out his EV spread. I'm gonna go for the Surf here. I mean, we're modest nature, like 120 or 130 something special attack, so he's gonna go for Stealth Rocks. He actually is able to live that, which is fine. My priority, of course, with Empoleon is keeping rocks away and showing why it can do that really well. And of course he's going to go here into his Mienshao, not wanting to sack up the Hippowdon, because Hippowdon is pretty useful to him to keep the sand up, especially for like drill support and having support for Excadrill. So I get off rocks with defog. I go for the Protect to kind of figure out what he wants to do here, and he's locked into U-turn. This is amazing because the fact that he's going to go for U-turn now puts us in Torrent range, which is amazing. Now look what's going to happen here. He's going to go into his Pharaoh, and I'm just going to go ahead here and click Surf, knowing that he does not have a switch in. We got the Torrent boosted Surf on deck, and that Pharaoh is pretty much gone. At this point, that Pharaoh is pretty much gone, which is so awesome. And it has fainted. It has indeed fainted. So after this, he's going to bring in his Excadrill, and that's fine because of the fact that at this point, like, I can easily just I have so many safe switch-ins to whatever he brings out, and he actually makes a double here into Hippowdon, which is pretty smart, I guess, which does give him a pretty free recovery, because me going into Gligar means that now he can actually slack off. But the problem with that is, right, is if I go for the U-turn here, which I do, right, and if he does not decide to attack me, which he actually does not, so I can go here into my Empoleon, and he decides here to go for the slack off, I am in Torrent range. So even though that damage before did that much, and in his mind he's probably thinking he can live it, it's not gonna work that way because I am in Torrent range. So I'm gonna go for the Surf, and this Hippowdon is basically gone. This Hippowdon is basically Hippowgone. Was the joke that I was trying to make there. Anyways, he's gonna go back in a Drill. I'm like, okay, I'm still saving my Empoleon, still a great Pokemon to save. Plus I could potentially get a 6-0. He only has like, what, 3 Pokemon left? So he actually makes a double out of drill. So he's making a ton of doubles. I mean, that's pretty good. Like, nice practice making double switches here. This is definitely the place to watch if you want to practice double switches. This is an effective way to see that. But I'm going to switch out of Gligar, not wanting to take an Icicle Crash with Sneasel or even a knockoff. He goes for the Crash here, so he actually clicks Icicle Crash. Maybe he didn't click it before because he didn't want to miss or something. But yeah, now what I can do is just go right for the U-turn. He goes into his drill, but at this point, the sand is gone. The sand is out of here. So this drill is going to be really, really slow at this point. So I can actually just switch out here into my Mega Pinsir. And we bring it out here. And we're faster than everything on his team except for Sneasel. And perhaps Mienshao if it's Scarfed. But I can just stay in, fire off a close combat because nothing wants to take that on his team. We just get off a nice close combat here. Knock it out in one hit, which is amazing. Getting rid of Excadrill is nice. He has 2 Pokemon left, which are his Mienshao and his Sneasel. Brings in the Mienshao, so I'm like, yeah, this thing has to be Scarfed or it probably packs Rock Slide or something. Or I mean, it must have something for Pinsir. So I'm gonna go into Gligar. He goes right for the U-turn, so nice prediction. He's actually really he knows really well how I'm switching his stuff, so that's good on his part. But unfortunately, he'll bring a Sneasel, and now I can actually go into my Magmortar, which I have not used yet, and I'm actually gonna bring it out here. Excited to see this Magmortar in action. He's gonna go for the Icicle Crash, doing a bit of damage to me. His knockoff won't be able to knock me out because I do pack a Z Crystal on it, which is nice, and he's gonna knock me off here. I decided to go for the Z Overheat. He actually gets Flame Body too, which is, I mean, it doesn't matter because he's already gone. So Magmortar is going to come through here with that nice Z move. Activated the Z Power. Full force of the Z move. Inferno Overdrive. Check this out. Look at this. Sneasel's out of here. I mean, I pretty much just used it in case he wanted to switch out of Sneasel into Mienshao to save it because Sneasel's Icicle Crash is the only way of beating Gligar at this point. But last but not least, brings in the Mienshao, and it's pretty much over at this point. It's pretty much over. He brings in Mienshao. I bring in my Gligar now, and he just goes right for the high jump kick. And that, of course, won't be doing much at all. I decided I'm just gonna go for the Earthquake here as he goes for another one. It's just doing a little bit of chip, and then I realized, like, I'm like, okay, I could knock this out with Gligar, or I could actually just switch out here, back into my Mega Pinsir, and not get a knockout with this, so that it can get a little bit higher on the leaderboard for the the Pokemon that get the most knockouts and stuff. They have that on the GBA channel. So I'm like, I'll go to Pinsir, knock this thing out with Pinsir, so I can get another knockout on this. So we got 3 knockouts with Empoleon, 2 with Pinsir. That was really nice there. So we can add on to the defogging rampage of Empoleon as well as Pinsir. So that's nice. And we actually win 6-0 once again. So the first time we faced him, we won 6-0. The second time we faced him, we won 6-0. Happy about that. We are, of course, putting in that work, showing why our team is strong. Even though I think I think he played really well with the doubles and stuff. I just feel like our team was just more well prepared, and I think that we really got I feel like we were really prepared for a lot of what he had. And even though he made a lot of good doubles, I don't think he really acted well upon it in terms of attacking and stuff. Like, I don't know. I think we had a really good matchup in terms of what we brought. And we played really well too with that Empoleon actually clicking Protect, scouting the Thunderbolt, then clicking, like even before that, the Flash Cannon, predicting Gardevoir, and then clicking Protect, scouting it out, and then actually staying in on the T-Bolt, which was, I think, it was still in electric terrain as well. So I could have just been O-code, but I decided to stunt. So you already know a stun or die out here. But GG, it is Emvee. Hope you all enjoyed this match. We are now currently 8-1 in the GBA, which I don't know. I think we're still like first or something. I don't know. I remember last week Jolt lost, and I don't know what happened this week. But yeah, I think if he lost or if he won, I think either way we're still in first because we won 6-0. So unless he won 6-0, I don't know. I think we're first, so that's nice. Hopefully we can end the season off strongly, and we'll obviously make playoffs and stuff. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me. Hope y'all enjoyed this match. It was a pretty fun one, and yeah, I will see you guys on the next one. Goodbye, friends.